Welcome to another episode of the Midweek Conversation of First Baptist Sweetwater, where we strive to be the first responders of God's love. My name is Jerry Hendricks, and I'm here today wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Teak.
No.
What do you mean, no?
We still have to celebrate Thanksgiving. I will not Merry Christmas until then.
Well, apparently you sabotaged the podcast last week on Facebook by trying to get people to share opinion on Christmas trees.
It didn't work. Nobody really responded to it.
Oh, they responded. You know how they responded?
No, I didn't check.
By putting pictures of their Christmas trees up on Facebook.
Who did that?
Millions of people did.
I'm going to go back and look. And I will chastise them for that, if that's the word.
Oh, wow. So here we are, man. We're right on the cusp of Advent.
Yep.
And I know we've got to talk about other things, but that's on our mind, or my mind.
I do love Advent. I'm just not willing to jump ahead. Now, my mom is the other way. She celebrates the start of Christmas right after Christmas ends. Like, she's counting down 364 days or whatever it is. And so that's my mom. So I've had to kind of rein her in a little bit by sharing Thanksgiving pictures under her post about Christmas.
Well, I don't think you have to wait to start sharing Jesus, so...
No, you can share Jesus all the time, but it doesn't have to be birth of Jesus.
So you're not gonna be shamed.
I don't like a cross at Christmas, so I don't want a baby before Thanksgiving.
Well, okay.
No, I do love Thanksgiving, but I love Advent. I love Christmas too. I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, he hates Christmas," but I do love Advent. But that came from my experience at Crosspoint. Right. Like, that was where I first introduced Advent, and it really changed my experience of the holidays. So.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things, hopefully, that grows on us every year.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And I don't know how that works for most people. Most people think that way, but that's definitely our mindset as we make preparation for it.
Right. It still surprised me when I'll talk to people and I say something about celebrating Advent, and they look at me and go, "What?" It's just become such a natural part of my life now that it surprised me when someone doesn't know what Advent is.
It's one of those things where in talking through making preparations for Advent and talking to other churches or friends of mine that are in similar churches around this area, it is interesting because we do have that assumption that everybody does that,
right,
in some fashion or another.
Yeah, and even talking about like how you celebrate Advent as a family at home. Like, when I was a kid, we did have Advent calendars, but I don't think we ever talked about it. It was just kind of countdown to Christmas.
Yeah.
And one of the deals I saw the other day said someone had opened their Advent calendar or got it set up, and according to their Advent calendar and the missing chocolates, it's like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I was like, that would probably be me. As a kid, I'd be like sneaking in there trying to find the chocolate.
Oh. Well, before we get to actually talking about the sequence that we're in, we'll get to that in just a little bit. We finished a series that was really, and I don't normally do this, where the sequencing of messages and series fit so tightly together,
right,
under different headings, I suppose. But Sunday I proposed a question. What could you do with an extra $90,000 a year? And that number is a very specific number for a reason. Mm-hmm. And so we talked about that in our church, but it did, I think, help me to start thinking about our future. And I'm not going to lie, it's over the last, how many months is it now? Since March. Been hard to think about the future because everything else is always kind of coming at us so fast and everything's changing. But if we get to turn this corner soon, and as we do that and have the opportunity to pray bold and to think about God's activity, it is interesting for us to kind of find ourselves in a new place in our prayer life and our spiritual journey that are those of us that are here at First Baptist Sweetwater.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's fun to dream about $90,000 as a church. Mm-hmm. As an individual, I'm not sure what $90,000 would do or how it would change what I do, because it's just kind of, it's that excess, you're excited about it, and that's great. I'm pretty sure we'd end up putting a ton of it away because that's just who we are as far as that is. But as a church, the ministries you can do with $90,000 and the way God can use that $90,000 to change lives in the community Sweetwater. That's just a really exciting thing to think about.
So a couple of things that relate to our church and the way that we function. That $90,000 represents over 18% of our budget and of our giving. And well, actually, if by our giving, it's probably around 20% or more, maybe even 22%. Oh, yeah. But you think about that, about the opportunity that you would have to reproportion that in the life of the church, and also put yourself in a place where you are dreaming about things that are very possible in terms of the life of the church, the future in the ministry of the church. And it's just one of those things that sometimes we just stare at the things that are in front of us, and we function well, we do things well, and we make progress down the road, but we never really have the opportunity to, I feel like, join God in some of the bigger things that God intends to do among us.
Right. It goes back to our study of that book, Exponential, where Ferguson wrote, if your dream is big enough that you can do it on your own, your dream isn't big enough.
Right.
And so that's
challenging. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to move into a dreaming journey together. I did mention Sunday, a meeting that we want to have in January the 11th. Mark that on your calendars now. That's 2021, the next
Which there's
year.
A good chance there's not much on your calendar right now.
In fact, my calendar arrives Thursday.
Okay.
So my new calendar, and it's later than normal. I don't know why I waited so long to order it, but that'll be one of the first things that goes on there. I've had it on my radar for a while, and we hope to just kind of come together as a church and really process some of the things that we've been talking about in our weekly conversations. And then also talk about how the pandemic has influenced us or helped us to evaluate how we do church and how we're doing ministry.
Yeah, and as much negativity as we have about the pandemic in 2020, because it seems like there's always something worse happening, there have been those benefits where God allows us to think through things and challenges us to think about what ministry is. And so that's a positive, and it's exciting.
Right. And so hopefully you'll be able to join us on that night as we dream together and we start praying together some bold dreams and see what we feel like that God has in store for us over the next few years, and that will influence. And I think this is where sometimes we miss it, is that what we do over the next months and few years influences a generation or two, oftentimes, because you don't ever come back and evaluate again.
Right.
And so we take any changes or shifts that we create here, we take those very seriously and strategically, and but with an eye on reaching others, and with an eye on reaching others in the future as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Already kind of got the wheels turning in my head as far as what that night could be and what we could, how we might try to configure that to really get some good discussion out there.
Good.
And I haven't thought what will happen. I said Sunday, Lord willing, and the COVID numbers don't rise.
Right.
And so if those numbers are still kind of out of whack as far as our gatherings, we'll add an additional layer of creativity to what we do. But we'll figure something out and kind of live in this process for a while. That's my hope anyway.
Because everything really is fluid.
Man, we haven't said that in a
No,
while.
we haven't.
Hey, I don't know how long it's been since you've used the word unprecedented. But I want you to think about I want you to get a hold of this, okay? First of all, it's a teaser for Sunday.
Okay.
That you're going to hear that word Sunday in a very fun and creative way.
Okay.
But also, I just want to put that word out there because you know how when you see something or experience something and then you start noticing it's everywhere?
There it is.
Right. I really had not thought about the word unprecedented.
No.
But what was interesting was I heard someone use it Sunday before I shared with our tech team that I've got this video I want us to show.
Unprecedented. So you're going to use unprecedented in a very unprecedented way. Man, that's hard to say.
I know, and it's going to be good.
I'm excited about it.
Well, because Sunday is at the table, and if that sounds like a familiar series, that's good because you've been with us for a while. But actually, the phrase "at the table" we started using maybe a year ago or 2 years ago.
I think it was two Thanksgivings ago.
Referring to we planned a special communion Sunday around the Sunday after Thanksgiving because it was one of those years where Advent didn't start until the next week,
which is rare.
And so we'd put that on the calendar and was looking forward to it, and decided to do a series on it and talk about the different times that people were at the table. Well, we just kept this one on our schedule. It'll be the Sunday before Thanksgiving, and a part of the backdrop to the story is that we know that regardless of what this Thanksgiving looks like, the table is going to be a central part of that gathering. I mean, whether you're going to meet traditionally with your family, or it's going to be a smaller grouping or of your family, there's going to be that table, and there's going to be key elements that are familiar to your family that you sort of celebrate. I'm not saying there's not some non-negotiables in there.
Oh, there are.
But I tried this year. I nudged it a bit. It didn't work so well.
What? So what did you nudge?
Well, I thought it might be nice if we changed something up or two, but it didn't go so
At home?
well. Yeah, it didn't pass.
So COVID didn't help you with that one.
It was voted down 3-1.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yikes. But guess didn't even go with you on that one.
So it'll be a traditional Thanksgiving for the Hendricks family. And by traditional, I mean same as always. But that's the way the table is.
I'm fine with that because I only get Thanksgiving once a year.
Right.
And I'm in a family that doesn't really desire and love turkey to the level that I do. And so it's easy for them to say, hey, we could do something non-traditional. And I'm like, no.
Wait, you would want to say no?
My bad.
Change something?
I'm fine with them changing it. You just won't have me there because I'll be sitting at home eating my own turkey by myself and be fine with that. But yeah, I do. Yeah, I'm okay with tradition on Thanksgiving.
Well, it'll be fun, and I share frequently this time of year that Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday of the year, and I do look forward to that time of being at home and for an extended period, and it's a good time to kind of chill and reset. And then my emotional trigger is I start celebrating the new year with the new Christian year.
Oh, right.
So the first Sunday of Advent, I move into the new year with all the enthusiasm and adrenaline and momentum for planning and thinking and goal setting.
Right.
So and then also I'm able to do that for 4 weeks instead of just the typical week or day that people spend thinking about those things. So that's something that I've advocated to the few audiences that I have, but maybe some others have joined me on that journey. I'm not sure. But it'll be that's just part of what we do around here. So Sunday we'll be at the table. We'll have communion, and we will be able to. We're going to have it where the elements will already be in a baggie for every person that will be participating, and then they'll receive that, and then at the appropriate times we'll take communion together. But we have several other elements that are revolving around that are going to make that a very special day.
I as you're talking about at the table, I'm just kind of going back in my head of the previous at the tables that we've had, and that's one that just sticks out to me. Like normally it's Advent and Lent or those, but I think that's becoming one of my more favorite services. Just what happens at that experience.
Yeah, the at the table one.
Yeah, I mean the very first one we did, we literally put a table and setting on stage.
Right.
And then, like, one thing that sticks out to me is the part of it that was leftovers. Because you always have leftovers at Thanksgiving. And what do you do with those leftovers? What does God do with our leftovers? And what does that look like? And so just thinking about that.
I'm taking notes for Sunday.
As we're literally sitting here talking about it, just those memories are coming back. And then you said all the elements will be in a baggie. And so I'm picturing us pouring grape juice into a baggie for people. But we're not going to do that.
So you see a problem with that?
Nope. It'll be fun.
No, it'll be a tear-off cup.
Right.
So,
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it'll be
the more
good.
we talk about it.
Well, and the other thing that we've done this time is that we've had the table set far
Right.
4 weeks now.
Right. And it
Some
looks
people
good.
have noticed.
Yes, yes. I keep getting updates on what the bread is doing because it's not ceramic bread. That's real bread down there.
It was real bread that I made last time we had communion, and on that one it was a take-home deal.
Right.
But
Several months ago. And that bread has done well.
yeah, well, it was so picturesque. It was the leftover, and it was my first time to make the communion bread, and I just set it aside, and then it hardened, and I go, I don't think this is going to mold.
And it's
And
doing well.
so it is preserved well, and
But it's not what we're using for this
no,
Sunday.
we're not using that. It will be
It's just a prop.
there'll be fresh unleavened bread
So good.
with our time on Sunday. So hope that you can join us for At the Table. It will be a good time as we kind of make that swing into the season where next time that we talk, maybe I can wish you Merry Christmas.
Well, that would be the Sunday, or it'll be right before Thanksgiving, so probably not.
One more week.
Yeah. And I'll say happy holidays at that moment. You
Oh,
wish me Merry
stop it.
Christmas, I'll say happy holidays
Oh,
because we still
stop
got
it.
Thanksgiving.
Stop it. Anyways, thank you for joining us on our podcast today. We always enjoy being able to be a part of your week and look forward to seeing you on Sunday, whether you're here with us live or you're streaming with us. See you Sunday.
See you then.